everyone, and welcome! Oof, it's been a while. Quite a while. Finally, I'm going to, with goddamn patch 5.3, like, right around the corner, we have one major thing left to do that I've put off it way too long. Away with the fairies? Yes! Let us get back on with Eden! Yelford has arrived in Mordsuk bearing pertinent information. What pertinent information have you, my good sir? Let's remember to turn that off. Ah, there you are. I'm part of the team helping with the highly classified and very secret thing. The matter of the fact is, I've come to inform you of a rather interesting development. It's about the girl who was brought back from the empty. She's finally woken up, you see.
Yelford! And Alex too! We heard the news from Thancred. Is it true?
Why yes, it most certainly is. Apparently her name is Gaia. She claims to be a free citizen of Yulmore, although she remembers nothing of the events leading up to her attack on Eden.
She's lost her memory?
Part of it, at the very least. We also cannot be sure whether she's telling the truth or if it's merely a ruse. She's yet to display any hostility, which is encouraging, I suppose.
And Thancred's with her now, is she? Is he?
Yes, he has taken her to Yulmore, mainly to verify what she's told us so far. Quiz the locals, that sort of thing. After all, the plan is to come back. Well, rather, after that, the plan is to come back here. Though they're taking rather longer than I'd anticipated. I do hope nothing is amiss. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba. Good grief, are you always this slow? Other way around.
At this rate, it'll be dark again before we know it. The night sky returning is all well and good, but it does make each day seem awfully short. Are you still dragging your heels back there? At least act like you've got a purpose, would you?
Now look here, I'm not one of your servants. Why don't you carry your own luggage for a change?
Thancred, you're back!
You lot are a sight for sore eyes. Yes, even you, Ranger. Gaia and I have just finished shipping her personal effects from Yulmore.
I'm glad we could finally meet. Properly, I mean. So, did you learn anything useful?
Other than where she lives, not an awful lot. Her supposed neighbours barely knew the first thing about her. Hell, she barely knows the first thing about herself. Her recollection of her life in Yulmore is patchy at best. But she seems convinced that she'll regain her memory if she accompanies us. And so she invited herself to join our merry band. And for her first act, she ordered me to carry her luggage.
If you insist on standing around talking, might I suggest finding a place to sit down first? My feet are killing me.
Then perhaps you should have chosen more sensible footwear. Still, it's not such a bad idea, shall we?
Good gods, what did you put in these things? It's like carrying bloody rocks. Did you bring rocks with you?
Alright, bye, I guess. I'll walk over here on my own. It's weird. It teleported us down the stairs. But not down the road. To this brand new table. Amnesia. 'Tis troubling, though not entirely unexpected.
I've got so many questions I want to ask, but I probably shouldn't bombard it with questions.
Well, I've given you my early impressions of Gaia, but I would be interested in hearing your opinion. Go on and talk to her and see what you make of her situation.
So you don't remember anything at all? Not attacking us? Not falling unconscious?
Such selective amnesia would rightly raise suspicion within those of a cautious mind. Yet if she doth speak the truth, it would lend credence to my current hypothesis, though admittedly some further. Not now, Rianche. She's only just woken up. We don't want to bore her back to sleep. In any case, I prefer to follow my instincts, and they're telling me that Gaia means us no harm. After much deliberation, I thought it only right to let her know about our work in the empty. It's a sign of goodwill. After all, trust works both ways. Though I would ask you, Alex, not to let your guard down just yet.
So, you're the one I'm supposed to have fought. Come to think of it, I recognize you from somewhere.
Maybe I have just one of those phases. It's considering you tried to kill us.
Well, if Thancred's version of events is anything to go by, you weren't exactly holding back yourself. Still, it seems I didn't give you much of a choice but to defend yourself. So let's call it even. Not that I have any recollection of it. It's like remembering fragments of a dream, only to realize those things actually happened. It's as though my whole life has been leading to this.
Thou speakest as though thou didn't expect these events. Wait, thou speakest as though thou didst expect these events.
I guess you could say that. It's what the Faerie tells me. I can't see it, but it's as though there's someone else inside me, and I can hear its voice in my head. It whispers to me and lets me use its power. Magic, I suppose you could call it. Not that I know much of that sort of thing.
And this power alloweth thee to tear open the fabric betwixt realities, that thou mayest call forth the ether-starved denizens of what remains of the 13th.
What? Was that supposed to mean something, or are you just spouting random words at me? Honestly, I don't know how you all put up with this. I've only just met him and his insufferable prattle has already given me a headache.
You just sort of drown it out.
Gods, I can't I still can't believe I'm having this conversation. And to think I was flying about in a suit of armor waving a sword. That doesn't sound like me at all. Someone else inside you. Like Minfilia was inside me.
Aye, the similarities cannot be ignored. Though it is too early to say with certainty, Gaia may well be the Oracle of Darkness. Wow, that's a leap and a half!
The Oracle of Darkness? What does this mean?
It means that you may have been right when you said she had something in common with Emmett Selk. Those who have been used as a living host by an Ascian have no recollection of events that occurred during their possession. This I know from personal experience. But Gaia seems to have some memories still, even if they're a little hazy. Moreover, she has remained in control of herself, even when she heard the voice within, much like you in Minfilia. And though Reen was very much her own personality, Minfilia's presence did exert a change upon her outward appearance, granting her hair and eyes a hue akin to our dearest departed friend. It is therefore not unthinkable that Gaia's raven locks may be a manifestation of the darkness which hath come to reside within her.
But I was born like this, and my parents, they both had black hair too. Or at least I think they did. It's been so long since I saw them, I can't remember it too well. But enough about me. You're Minfilia, aren't you? The Oracle of Light, who they were hosting in Yulmore. That's right, though imprisoned is a better word. They kept me locked away, and I didn't know much about Yulmore and its people, or the rest of the world for that matter. I see. And how exactly did the Oracle of Light come to run with the Warrior of Darkness? Well, it started when...
blah 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 blah, patch 5.0.
Yes, I still remember the day everyone went raving mad and Lord Vorthry fled. Everything after that is still a blur though.
From what Gaia's told me, she wasn't part of the mob that attacked us. But how was she able to resist Vorthry's control? Mayhap 'twas the intervention of this Faerie of whom she speaketh. As curious as that may be, we still don't know why she appeared out of nowhere as soon as Eden took flight.
This is just a guess, but I'd say that the Faerie reacted to it in some way, and for whatever reason made me go after it. Yes, that seems like the only explanation. I don't know about you lot, but I've had enough nattering. I'm going back to Eden. What? But why? The Faerie wanted something from Eden, and knowing what that is will bring me a step closer to discovering exactly what has been living in my head all these years. Besides, my memories aren't going to restore themselves, and certainly not through idle chit-chat, so I'm going and that's that. Gaia, wait!
Oh, insufferable, utterly insufferable. And yet we can't well leave her to her own devices. Come on. Come, my mighty vessel!
She can't have gone far, especially not in those heels.
What footwear have you got on? Well, you're wearing heels. They're not as bad, but still heels. Do, 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 do.
Get away from me!
Gaia! It seems I have no choice. What am I?
I mean, you've got some pretty badass time magic. I can't really say much negative about that.
I'm not entirely sure what I just witnessed, but I'm glad she's unarmed.
Harmed, unharmed. Power befitting the oracles of darkness. When you fought Gaia, she opened void gates, yes? Back in the source, portals such as these were all too common. But tearing open the veil between the 1st and the 13th is a different matter entirely. We should be thankful that she's not of a mind to turn that power against us. For now. Yes, you find out about that in the magic role quests. That it's a lot more difficult here because it's technically the furthest place from the 13th. The most fascinating application of ethereal manipulation. The destructive blast did manifest a significant span of time after the initial casting. With sufficient mastery of such a technique, a spell could be made to smite the target at precisely the same moment. Ah, second spell. Right, so let's think about that for a second. That, I suppose, isn't too dissimilar in a way to, like... I'll get to it in a second. While it would demand exceptional ethereal control, its tactical potential cannot be denied. So let's take, for example, on Summoner, Ruin 3 is a spell that has cast time of 2.4. Well, it varies because of spell speed, but in this example, 2.43 seconds to cast, whereas Ruin 2 is an instant. So you could cast Ruin 3 and then as soon as it goes off, cast the second at the same time, thus casting two spells in the same moment, one of them requiring preparation. I know it's technically different, but same sort of principle. I suppose, I'll get you in a second, I suppose the way in terms of gameplay you could do that is having instant casts. and having instant casts that have delay. So instead of like a 2.43 seconds to cast, it's a 2.43 delay that goes off after. Not sure how they'd work that into this game. I mean, it doesn't seem too like out there, but it would be interesting. What are you all gawping at?
I don't mean to stare, but it's not every day I see magic like that. So this is the power of the Faerie you spoke of. Ever since I was a child, it has whispered to me, telling me what to do. That's how I came to use its power. But there are things I can't even explain. Holes ripped in thin air, terrifying creatures crawling out, ghastly looking blades and armor appearing out of nowhere. But worst of all is all this dark energy that comes from inside. This power, it feels as though it's only flowing through me, and never truly mine. And even when it answers my call, it always takes a few moments for the spell to work.
So in summary, you don't have control over the magic.
Well, it's not as if I ever tried to control it. I haven't made a habit of fighting wild beasts. Unfortunately, it's part and parcel of travelling through Arborang. And while I understand that you want answers, you're not going to find them unprepared as you are. But if your heart is set on it, then we'll happily help you.
Doesn't say happily there, but I did. Reen, think about what you're saying. You're seriously considering taking Gaia to see Eden? There's no telling what might happen if she loses control again. So the safest option is for her to stay away until our work is done. Somewhere we can keep an eye on her. You must realize it's for her own good. I must concur with Thancred's assessment. At present we know precious little of Gaia's origins, and less still of her powers. If she is indeed the Oracle of Darkness, her presence may complicate the task already fraught with peril, placing our mission and our own well-being in jeopardy. In full knowledge of the risk, dost thou still wish to pursue this course? Better do something than do nothing.
I do. It wasn't so long ago that I was living in isolation, being held against my will. Maybe the people keeping an eye on me thought that was for my own good too. But if we shut Gaia away for our own convenience, we're no better than Vorthri and Ranjit. I've learned that when someone is in need, we must reach out a helping hand, not push them away. Now it's my turn to do for Gaia what you've all done for me. Even knowing the danger that lies ahead, I won't choose the easy way out. This is the path I've chosen. Is that good enough for you?
Well, I can't say fairer than that. How about you, Riange? The light of thy spirit doth burn brightly. Mine apologies, my dear, but we felt it necessary to test thy resolve. Let it suffice it to say... That doesn't sound right, but yeah, that's fine. Thou hast left no room for doubt. For what it's worth, Reen, I never doubted you. But make no mistake, the danger that Urianger and I spoke of is all too real. If you're prepared to go through with this, we'll be right there beside you.
That means a lot to me. Thank you. I couldn't care less who I travel with. But if we're going to go, then let us get going already. There's supposed to be some sort of craft waiting at the southern watchtower, yes? Come along then, and don't fall behind.
I have no idea what voice I'm meant to be giving her, but I've went with annoying posh bird. Hey, it's annoying posh bird. Don't know where I went with that, but it did. Hello there, sand mole. It's interesting as well to note that you can base... Actually, yeah, let's use the sand mole as an example. So... Alright, that's not going to attract anymore. So, let's say for an example, based on like what level of power she likely has, she might take down technically a much stronger enemy, but let's say it was another general level 70. A sand mole is obviously a weak creature, but yeah, so she used one cast. So if you judge it based on that, oh yeah, would actually have to summon something. Like even some of my more potent attacks weren't able to take out a level 70 in one go. So that's an interesting way to look at the comparison sake of like from that one cast, the strength. I mean, yes, we can take into account that she is fightable as like an enemy at full question mark strength during the last section of these. But I just found, for comparison's sake, that quite interesting. Off you go. I didn't mean to do that, I meant to do that.
Why couldn't you leave this craft in Mordsuk instead of all the way out here? Ugh. Actually, don't bother explaining. Whatever the reason is, I'm sure it's something frightfully uninteresting. Let's be about it, shall we?
Again, I've managed to do this at night time.
Of course I'm worried about what may happen when Gaia gets close to Eden. We'll keep a close eye on her. Make sure she's alright.
Though our circumstances hath changed, our mission most assuredly has not. Restoring life to the empty remaineth our primary objective. Nope, didn't mean to talk to Rian. It might be a bit of a tight squeeze with the 5 of us, but we'll manage. Perhaps Urianger can sit on top of our luggage. Off we go! Oh, there wasn't even a cutscene for it. Yeah, it was me thinking there was going to be a cutscene of the travelling again, which last time I did, I accidentally did at night time, I think. I had hoped that, during our absence, the rebalance of ambient ether might work further changes. Alas, twas not to be.
Everything seems fine here, as far as I can tell. As for Gaia, she hasn't started attacking anything yet, so we'll take that as a good sign.
As usual, we should keep our sojourn here as brief as possible. Let's tend to business quickly.
So, there it is.
Away with the fairy. Do ba 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 ba.
Eden, where I'll find the answers I seek. The bringer of the flood, the first Sin Eater. Would it lead me to my past or my future?
Ooh, I like that.
What awaited on the path ahead, I couldn't say, but I had no choice but to take the first step.
That was an interesting way of showing an inner monologue. Alright, that's that. Blood and Thunder. Alright, so thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time for Blood and Thunder. Bye 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 bye.